Hello and welcome to another episode of Bangladesh Today. Bangladesh celebrated Bijoy Dibash on December 16th with festivities. It commemorates the birth of the nation in 1971. As part of the celebrations, 60 foreign friends were honored for their contribution to its independence. They included many prominent Indians. Among the recipients, 60 personalities and 2 organizations from 10 countries received the award. They're mostly from India, and others are from the US, Russia, France, Australia, UK, Sweden, Sri Lanka, Nepal and Bhutan.
1971 সালের সেই কালো অধ্যায়ের দিকে যদি আমরা তাকাই, আমরা কি দেখি? সেই হত্যা, খুন, ধর্ষণ, নির্যাতন, সেই ভয়াবহ চিত্রের কথা যখনই মনে পড়ে, তখনই ব্যথায় বুক ভরে যায় যে কি বিভৎস অবস্থার মধ্য দিয়ে আমাদেরকে এগিয়ে যেতে হয়েছে। শত বাধা, বিঘ্ন, অত্যাচার, নির্যাতনও বাঙালি জাতিকে দমাতে পারে নাই। এই বাংলাদেশে যে গণহত্যা চলেছিল, বোধহয় বিশ্বের ইতিহাসে এই ধরনের ভয়াবহ গণহত্যা বোধহয় আর কখনো ঘটে নাই, যা 71 সালে বাংলার মাটিতে হানাদার বাহিনী ঘটিয়েছিল। কিন্তু সেই অবস্থা থেকেও আমরা উঠে আসতে সক্ষম হই, কারণ দেশ বিদেশে আমাদের অকৃত্রিম বন্ধুরা আমাদের পাশে ছিলেন বলেই আমাদের এই অর্জন সম্ভব হয়েছিল। কাজে আমরা সব সময় মনে করি আমাদের এই বন্ধু যাদেরকে আমরা আজকে সম্মাননা দিতে পারছি, অনেকে আর জীবিত নেই, থাকলে হয়তো তারা আনন্দিত হতেন, কিন্তু তারপরেও তাদের প্রতিনিধিরা, তাদের সন্তানেরা তারা আছেন। কাজেই আমাদের মুক্তি সংগ্রাম, আমাদের মুক্তিযুদ্ধ, আমরা যে বিজয় অর্জন করতে পেরেছিলাম, এটা যে তাদের অবদান, সেই অবদানকে আমরা চিরদিন স্মরণ করব শ্রদ্ধার সাথে।
The foreign dignitaries honored included Indians like legendary musician Salil Chaudhary, communist leaders Ila Mitra and Ramendra Mitra, singers Hemanta Mukhopadhyay and Manna Dey, acclaimed filmmaker Ritwik Ghatak, writer Sunil Gangopadhyay, and famous painter Maqbool Fida Hussain.
On this solemn occasion, we pay our homage to the courageous people of Bangladesh whose bravery and sacrifice made it possible to usher in this dawn of freedom. We also pay our homage to Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, whose visionary leadership, grit, and determination infused the spirit of freedom among the people of Bangladesh and inspired them for this valiant struggle. On this occasion, we also pay our respects to the courageous people of Bangladesh and India who made supreme sacrifice and laid down their lives for the liberation of Sonar Bangla.
Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina presented the awards and citations at an event organized at the Bangabandhu International Conference Center in Dhaka. Recently, jurists from the Indian subcontinent, including Justice Shamsuddin Chaudhary Manik of Bangladesh, met in New Delhi and called for a resolute global effort to fight the scourge of terrorism. Since 2009, the Bangladeshi government has had considerable success in reining in Islamic terror and cooperated actively with foreign governments in cracking down on international terrorism.
Distinguished guests,
while addressing the conference titled Jurists on International Terrorism, jointly organized by the International Council of Jurists, All India Bar Association and Indian Council of Jurists in the Indian capital, Chaudhary said that a united attempt to fight militancy was the need of the hour and hailed the execution of Pakistani terrorist Ajmal Amir Qasab as a victory for India.
in Bangladesh, you may have heard of the recent attack on Buddhist temples. And as Dr. Farooq Abdullah quite rightly said, these attacks and these acts of terrorism are almost in all cases instigated by vested quarters. And that is exactly what happened in Bangladesh as well. But luckily enough, the government of Bangladesh has succeeded to crush this anti-people force iron-handedly. Because the government of Bangladesh is committed, it's a secular state, as you know. Constitutionally, Bangladesh is a secular state, although the majority of the people are Muslims. People of all religions have equal rights. It's Bangladesh for all people, Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Sikhs. And that was one of the reasons why we fought Pakistan, because we didn't believe in the existence of a theological state, as Dr. Abdullah has correctly said, that Pakistan tried to have Kashmir as part of their territory because the majority of the people in Kashmir are Muslims. But the Kashmiri people denounced this. They didn't believe in theological statehood, as we did. We don't in Bangladesh. So we fought it back, and we crushed it. The government of Bangladesh has reasserted from time to time that terrorism will have no place in Bangladesh. The fact that recently Indian Supreme Court affirmed the conviction of a Bombay attacker who happened to have arrived from Pakistan and whose execution had taken place recently was a good action, was a good move. We all hailed this move because there can be no compassion for the terrorist, because terrorists do not have any compassion for the rights of other people. So they don't deserve any humanity, any compassion at all.
Justice Chaudhry also concurred that equating terrorism with a particular religion was wrong and reiterated that one who's a true follower of God would not indulge in violent activities.
The biggest curse that we are facing, the human nation, the human being, the human race, the humanity facing this curse of terrorism. The part of the world where I come from is inflicted with it. India is, of course, one of the biggest targets of terrorism. And why not? Europe, America, the United States, Middle East, everywhere. So, as the Honorable Minister Dr. Farooq Abdullah has pointed out quite rightly, cogently, and vigorously, that we had to combat it as a united force. He has made it abundantly clear that the terrorists do not have any religion. The only religion that they profess to is terrorism. Those who pretend or perpetrate terrorism in the name of religion, they have no knowledge of religion whatsoever, because no religion encourages terrorism. We are the creation of only one God. Whether I be a Muslim or a Hindu or a Sikh or a Christian or a Buddhist, we have not been created by different gods. And we, being the creation of one single God, we cannot say that the God advised us or directed us to eliminate people of other faiths. We being the creation of the same God, must have a unity among the people of all religion, and that is what every religion dictates.
A recent study has positioned Bangladesh at 39 among 158 countries as far as impact of terrorism was concerned. The Global Terrorism Index (GTI) showed Iraq at the top of the list, followed by Pakistan, Afghanistan and India. According to the study, there had been 6 incidents of terror attacks in Bangladesh, causing 3 deaths with 4 casualties, and the level of property damage was rated at 2. Bangladesh has seen a remarkable transformation in the past couple of years, with the administration conducting sustained action against militant groups in the state. Despite the presence of terror groups such as the Harkat-ul-Jihad al-Islami Bangladesh, the administration, using limited resources, has managed to keep itself from falling victim to jihadi terror agenda. For several years during the BNP rule, radical Islamic groups disrupted the political equilibrium in the country. The past few years has seen a dramatic transformation. After the blaze at a clothing factory on the outskirts of Bangladesh's capital Dhaka on November 24, 2012 that killed 111 people, the demand for meeting of basic safety standards has gained momentum. Many Western garment firms have been accused of flouting even flimsy safety rules in Asian countries. The factory owners in turn deceive or buy their way out of safety compliance rules. The disaster has brought Bangladesh's 4,500 factories strong garment industry to international focus. Generally, the wages are paltry here, and working conditions and safety regulations are much below international standards. A detailed look at the 8-story factory of the Tazreen Fashions Limited, where the fire broke out, show the alarmingly gaping holes in fire safety preparations. Also, the building was under construction even as sewing work continued inside it. The basement of the building stored heaps of burnable yarn near electric generators. To make matters worse, when thick smoke started to spread in the building, workers comprehended what was happening and rushed to the 3 exits on the floor. But 2 of the exits were closed, and the last one too narrow to let hundreds of people through at once. In panic, many people had to flee by leaping out from windows.
On the basis of preliminary inquiry, we have come to the conclusion that this is an act of sabotage. Yes, sir. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has already announced it in the parliament yesterday. We are finding out as of now who exactly these saboteurs are, and we are determined that these saboteurs are brought to book. At the same time, we would like to assure everyone here and abroad that our production process will continue and no limitations, no obstacles will be allowed to stand on its way.
Officials in the garment industry want speedy execution of recommendations in a report which concluded that the fatal fire was because of both sabotage and carelessness. At least 500 people have died in garment factory accidents in Bangladesh since 2006.
This incident has happened before. There were fires before. There were no reports, no proper jurisdiction, no proper. There was no law executed to the whole process, and the families were not compensated enough. And this has been happening repeatedly for year after year.
After the fire at Tazreen Fashions, both Walmart and Sears Holding had admitted that their goods were being manufactured at the workshop, even though both categorically stated that they had denied it permission as a supplier. For a long time, Western apparel buyers depended a great deal on China to source their products. But labor shortages and mounting wage pressures encouraged them to search elsewhere, and now Bangladesh has become a major player in the market. In Bangladesh, the Western apparel buyers have found a country that is on positive trade terms with Europe and significantly with minimum wage for garment workers, under $37 a month, a lot of cheap labor. Bangladesh's garment industry, which accounts for 80% of the country's $24 billion annual exports, has become the mainstay of an economy that was once reliant on aid. Rights groups like the International Labour Rights Forum say that low wages and substandard safety conditions remain a problem among many of the country's roughly 3,000 apparel factories because end buyers squeeze them for rock-bottom production costs. That's all we have for you in this episode of Bangladesh Today. Thank you for watching.